the carnivore diet. Ever wondered what happens when you strip away everything but meat from your diet? Not just low carb or keto, we're talking pure, unadulterated carnivore. I'm talking steaks, organs, and fat, with absolutely zero plants on the plate. Sounds extreme? That's exactly why we need to dig into the real science behind it. Let's start with something mind-blowing. A 2021 study of over 2,000 carnivore dieters revealed something that defies conventional wisdom. These meat-only enthusiasts weren't just surviving, they were claiming to thrive. We're talking dramatic weight loss, crystal-clear mental focus, and blood sugar levels that would make any doctor do a double take. But here's where it gets interesting. While 95% of participants were singing its praises, their blood work told a more complex story. LDL cholesterol shot through the roof, raising red flags about heart health. And those classic nutrition concerns? Vitamin C, fiber, and other micronutrients typically found in plants? They're not just textbook theory, they're real gaps that need addressing. The metabolic puzzle gets even more fascinating. Picture this: carnivore dieters walking around with stellar HDL levels and rock-bottom triglycerides. Exactly what we want to see. But then there's that pesky LDL again, climbing higher with each ribeye steak. It's like their bodies are sending mixed signals, and even the experts are scratching their heads. We've seen this pattern before, but here's the kicker. We're in uncharted territory when it comes to long-term heart health. Now, let's talk about what's happening in your gut on this diet. It's like conducting a radical experiment on your microbiome. Initially, many people celebrate the end of bloating and digestive issues. No more plant fiber means no more gas, right? But here's the plot twist. That missing fiber isn't just about staying regular. It's the favorite food of your gut's beneficial bacteria, the tiny workers that produce butyrate. Think of it as your colon's protective shield. Without this shield, we might be setting ourselves up for a whole new set of problems down the road, from digestive issues to potentially more serious conditions. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: nutrients. Meat is undeniably a nutritional powerhouse. It's loaded with B vitamins, iron, and protein, so complete it makes plant proteins look like amateur hour. But here's where things get tricky. Ditch plants entirely, and you're walking a tightrope with certain nutrients. Vitamin C, folate, magnesium, potassium, these typically come from the green stuff. Now, carnivore advocates will tell you that raw meat and organs pack enough vitamin C to keep scurvy at bay. But when we dive into the research, the water gets murky. Even the most dedicated health experts raise their eyebrows at getting all your nutritional needs met from meat alone without some serious strategic planning. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. The carnivore diet isn't just about dropping pant sizes or stabilizing blood sugar. It's about rewinding the clock to our ancestral roots. Picture this: our early human ancestors, armed with nothing but stone tools, taking down massive prey. The evidence is literally carved in stone, or rather, in ancient bones bearing the telltale marks of human butchery. For millions of years, we weren't just hunters, we were apex predators. And our bodies tell this tale. Stomach acid, potent enough to handle day-old meat. Digestive tracts built for efficiency rather than plant fiber processing. It's like we're walking around with hardware specifically designed for a meat-heavy operating system. But hold on, here comes the plot twist. Sure, our ancestors were master hunters, but they weren't exclusively carnivorous. Modern science has given us a window into their dining habits through dental records and bone chemistry analysis. And guess what? They were opportunistic eaters, grabbing whatever nature served up. Those ancient teeth tell quite a story. Sharp enough to tear through meat, but flat enough to handle plants. It's like having a Swiss Army knife in your mouth. And here's the kicker. Unlike true carnivores like lions, we can't make our own vitamin C. That's not just a random quirk. It's a biological breadcrumb suggesting that throughout our evolution, plants were always on the menu, reliable enough that we never needed to develop that particular superpower. Now, let's explore two fascinating case studies that carnivore advocates often cite: the Inuit and Maasai peoples. These cultures have not just survived but thrived on diets that would make most nutritionists faint. Picture the Inuit, mastering survival in one of Earth's harshest environments on a menu of fatty fish and marine mammals. Their secret weapon against scurvy? Raw organ meats packed with vitamin C. Then there's the Maasai, whose traditional diet is a cardiologist's nightmare, loads of meat and dairy. Yet they've historically shown remarkably low rates of heart disease. But here's the catch. These populations are genetic outliers. Over generations, they've developed unique adaptations that let them thrive on these extreme diets. It's like they've got specialized software running on their biological hardware that most of us simply don't have installed. But what about modern-day carnivores? This is where things get really interesting. Social media and online forums are buzzing with transformation stories that sound almost too good to be true. We're talking about people who've tried everything, every diet, every pill, every recommendation, only to find their solution in the most extreme approach imaginable. Picture this: a frustrated diabetic, tired of the endless medication adjustments, switches to all meat and watches in amazement as their blood sugar stabilizes and 30 pounds melt away. Or consider the story of someone who struggled with depression and brain fog for years, then experiences mental clarity they hadn't felt in decades, all within months of going carnivore. One particularly striking case involves an individual who shed 80 pounds and declared that going carnivore didn't just change their diet, it transformed their entire life. Of course, there's another side to this story that we need to address. While the success stories are compelling, health experts are raising red flags about going full carnivore. Think about it. You're not just cutting back on plants, you're eliminating an entire kingdom of nutrients. Those protective compounds found only in plants? Gone. And while the short-term benefits might be impressive, the long-term picture gets murky. We're talking potential nutrient deficiencies, cholesterol concerns, and possible increased risks of serious conditions like heart disease and colon cancer. Not to mention the real-world challenges. Some carnivore dieters report hitting a wall with their workouts, fighting constant fatigue, and feeling like social outcasts because, let's face it, our world isn't built for meat-only eaters. And here's the kicker. Most of what we know comes from people self-reporting their experiences. Without solid, long-term clinical trials, we're partly flying blind. So what's the bottom line? Is the carnivore diet really the health revolution some claim it to be, or are we playing with fire? The truth is fascinatingly complex. Yes, some people experience dramatic transformations that seem almost miraculous. When you cut out carbs and processed foods, your body responds fast. Weight drops, blood sugar stabilizes, and for some, chronic health issues improve significantly. But there's a catch. By saying goodbye to plants entirely, you're also waving farewell to fiber, antioxidants, and countless beneficial compounds that science has linked to lower disease risk. Let's circle back to our evolutionary story. While our ancestors were undoubtedly skilled hunters who relied heavily on meat, they weren't turning down plants when they could get them. Look at the evidence written in our own bodies. Our teeth are designed for an omnivorous diet. Our digestive system produces enzymes for both meat and plants. And that pesky vitamin C requirement? It's like a biological receipt showing that plants were always part of our ancestral menu. Sure, meat played a crucial role in our evolution. It quite literally fed the development of our complex brains and helped us survive when food was scarce. But using this to justify an all-meat diet today? That's like saying because our ancestors occasionally had to sprint from predators, we should all become marathon runners. So what's really happening when you strip your diet down to just animal products? The carnivore advocates make some compelling points. By eliminating everything but meat, you're not just cutting out junk food, you're creating the ultimate elimination diet. No hidden ingredients, no complex food combinations, just pure animal nutrition. And for people who've been through the medical ringer with chronic conditions or mysterious food sensitivities, sometimes this radical simplicity becomes their breakthrough moment. The reports are hard to dismiss. Surging energy levels, vanishing pain, mental fog lifting like a curtain. For these individuals, the benefits aren't just numbers on a lab report, they're life-changing transformations. But let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Our bodies are like complex ecosystems, and what works in the short term might not play out well over decades. Those elevated LDL cholesterol levels, they're like time bombs ticking away, even when they're hanging out with stellar HDL numbers and rock-bottom triglycerides. And that missing fiber might seem like no big deal at first. Maybe your digestion even improves, but it's playing a longer game with your gut health. Think of fiber as your intestinal security system. Without it, you might be leaving the door open for serious issues down the road. Then there's the elephant in the room, the social aspect. Food isn't just fuel, it's part of our cultural fabric. Try explaining to your grandmother why you're passing on her famous vegetable lasagna, or navigate a business dinner where the only thing you can eat is the steak. Hold everything else. It's not just about willpower. It's about living in a world that isn't built for extreme dietary restrictions. So here's the real talk. If you're battling severe health issues that haven't responded to conventional approaches, could carnivore be worth exploring? Under proper medical supervision and with careful monitoring, maybe. It might be your reset button, your temporary healing space. But for most of us, the science still points to the wisdom of balance. Think about it. Our bodies have spent millions of years adapting to process a varied diet of plants and animals. That's not just history, it's a blueprint for optimal health. The sweet spot likely lies in embracing this natural diversity rather than narrowing our nutritional window to a keyhole. Now, before you clear your fridge of everything but meat, let's get real for a moment. Our bodies are as unique as our fingerprints. What sends one person into optimal health might send another into a tailspin. While the carnivore diet has its devoted followers, there's a reason why health experts raise their eyebrows. With limited long-term research, going to extremes with your diet is like jumping out of a plane without checking your parachute first. Let's circle back to our core questions. Is the carnivore diet truly beneficial for humans? Does it carry more risks than other nutrition approaches? And are we really designed to be meat-exclusive eaters? Here's what the science tells us. While humans can temporarily thrive on an all-meat diet, our biology tells a different story. We're not lions. We don't have the digestive system for an exclusive meat diet. We're more like sophisticated hybrid engines, built to run on multiple fuel sources, both animal and plant foods. So what's the bottom line? Sure, the carnivore diet might offer quick wins for metabolism and certain health conditions, but for most people, it's like using a sledgehammer to hang a picture, extreme and potentially risky. Without solid long-term research backing its safety, going full carnivore is essentially signing up to be your own guinea pig. If you're fed up with processed foods and sugar crashes, there's a middle ground. Quality meats paired with nutrient-rich plants. It's like getting the best of both worlds without playing Russian roulette with your health. Ask yourself this: are you looking for a quick fix, or are you in it for the long haul? The carnivore diet might be the radical reset some people need, but for most of us, the tried and true omnivorous path is like a well-built bridge. Not as exciting as ziplining across the canyon, but definitely more likely to get you where you want to go safely. Whether you're team meat only or team everything in moderation, one thing's clear: your body is the only one you've got. Treat it like the complex, amazing machine it is. Keep questioning and maybe, just maybe, don't forget about those vegetables.